Hey Canucks fans, welcome to Clay's Canucks commentary for Tuesday, April the 10th. I'm Clay Emo at Canuck Clay on Twitter, and I'm at Clayton Emo on Instagram. No Canucks games to speak of for the next 4 months or so, but we can still talk Canucks in general and still talk about hockey in general, especially as 16 teams in the NHL are get ready to kick off their second season, so to speak. The playoffs start tomorrow night. So for today's video, I'm talking about two things. Number one, the Yearend press conference for the Canucks yesterday, and number two, my brand new hockey pool, playoff pool, where you can show off your hockey knowledge and win some money in the process. All right, let's start with yesterday's annual year-end press conferences. So you had some of the management there, Benning, Linden, and Coach Green, and then you had the Sedins, Horvat, Virtanen, and many other players. I had 5 takeaways from yesterday's press conference. I'm going to walk through each of them pretty quickly. Number one, the captaincy is going to be a big issue. They asked Horvat, they asked the Sedins, they asked Trevor Linden, they asked Travis Green. And no surprise here, they didn't commit to anyone or anything yet. It sounds like they're bantering around a couple ideas. Number one, the most obvious to me would be Bo Horvat should be the next captain. He's shown he's a good player, strong work ethic, very passionate, not afraid to stand up and answer questions, and he's good with the media. He's getting more confident and getting more articulate, and he has the respect of all his teammates. All those things can be improved even further. That's why I think he should be the next captain. And he talks like a captain, he carries himself like a captain, and overall I think he'd be the best pick. There's also been some talk of leadership by committee, so to speak, guys like Gabranson, Sutter, Tanev, Edler, Eriksson, whoever it may be, some of the veterans. But whichever way they go, whether it's leadership committee, whether it's Horvat with the help of a leadership committee, we know that there's a big leadership void to be filled, and we know that's going to take more than one guy to do it. So whether or not Horvat's wearing the actual C, or it's a combination of players wearing A's and a C, whatever it may be, look forward to seeing that decision ultimately before the start of next season. So that's number one. Number two, related to that, was Bo Horvat. Impressed with his humility and his overall kind of just the way he thinks and his awareness. That's the word I'm looking for. Awareness of what's going on. Apparently, he was asked to be on Canada's national team for the World Championships starting next month, early next month in May. And he was asked 2 weeks ago, prior to Easter weekend, on Good Friday actually, so that would be the end of March. Yet he did not announce it, he did not share it, he did not hold a press conference or mention it to any reporters, out of respect for the Sedins, by being aware through his humility and being aware of the situation. He didn't want to take any spotlight away from the Sedins, but when pressed about it at the press conference, he admitted, that he was invited 2 weeks ago, that he accepted, and that's pretty exciting. It's going to make him a better player and a better leader, tying it back into the leadership conversation. So whether he's playing with guys like McDavid and Goudreau and Tavares, whoever decides to go, whoever's invited from the non-playoff teams, and then, as we know, they sometimes add players that were eliminated after the first round. So regardless, Horvat's going to improve as a player, as a leader, and no doubt give him even more confidence in his abilities and his leadership as he comes back to the team next year. So that's number two. Congrats to Bo Horvat for being named to Canada's team for the World Championships next month. Number three, it's the cap space. With the Sedins retiring, with Dorsett's salary coming off the books, that's $17.5, $18 million. Then of course there's the re-signing of the 5 RFAs, Stetcher, Pouliot, Virtanen, Granlund, and Barchi. That's going to eat in by an extra couple million a year. So you're still looking at $14 or $15 million to play with. Now, Trevor Linden, I think, music to Canucks fans' ears, he flat out said that he's not sure, they haven't committed to spending to the cap, that he could see a scenario where the Canucks are well under the cap next season. And that would be a good thing, especially compared to last season where, as we know, they signed 5 free agents on July 1st. Delzato, Gagne, Nilsson, Burmistrov, and Wirkosh, and then they added Thomas Vanek later in the summer. So that's 6 free agents. And of those 6 guys, only 2 are regular roster players now, Gagne and Delzato. You could argue that Nilsson might be moved by the start of next season. Wirkosh still in the minors, Burmistrov retired from the NHL, and Vanek, as we know, is in Columbus. So, I don't think they learn probably their lesson a little bit. They're not going to go out and sign 5 or 6 new guys, but they might add 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 as depth guys to help with that leadership, whatever it may be. But it seems clear to me, it seems plain to me, evident to me that they are looking to let the young guys step up, to earn spots, and whether that is guys like giving Horvat and Boeser, guys like that, a chance to not only emerge as leaders, but to make more of an impact, make more of an imprint on the team. And then the future looks bright, as we've talked about: Pedersen, Dahlin, Demko, Yolevi, Gaudette. There's all these guys that are coming up and that can, really make a big impact on this team. So, yes, the Canucks have some cap room to play with, but it'll be fascinating to see what they do with it. If they save some space for a late season acquisition, I don't know why, or maybe they spend some of that $15 million for guys on one-year contracts that they're able to flip for picks or prospects at the end of the year at the trading deadline, the Vegas Golden Knights model, so to speak. So we'll see. But the fact that we have some flexibility, I think all Canucks fans will be very interested to see what they do with it. Number 4 is related to that. With the Sedins retiring, and yes, we are sad to see them go, but we are happy that they are going out on their own terms. And you can't fault them at all if their primary reason is family, be more present as a husband and father. Of course, we're going to support that. But in a good way, it actually signals the actual, true new era for the Vancouver Canucks. The actual full commitment to the rebuild. And Linden and Green and Benning kind of hinted at it. Francesco Aquilini in his 15-tweet series kind of hinted at it, that this is indeed a new era for the team. And we would never say that the Sedins held back the rebuild, especially intentionally. We'd never say that it was their fault. After all, they were their second and third leading scorers. So we needed them on this team. But the fact that they've made their decision, now we respect the past, but we respectfully look forward and move forward as well. And this is a chance for, like I said, all those guys to step up and really signal a dawn of a new era, a true rebuild, looking ahead for this Vancouver Canucks. It's going to be very exciting to watch. I know I'm very excited. And when it comes to being a season ticket holder and trying to sell tickets or give away tickets, I really think this year was the low point until the end, of course. And I think we hit rock bottom that way. And I see demand for tickets and just overall awareness and excitement for the team going forward, going up and increasing as we go. So that's number 4. Lastly, number 5, kind of came out of nowhere and they avoided it, but at least they addressed it. Brock Boeser is getting treated for his wrist injury. Now, he wasn't at the press conference yesterday, and Jim Benning humbly but he honestly and genuinely said that Boeser's in Minnesota right now getting his wrist checked out. So we know he's on, they said that he's on pace to recover from his bad back from getting hit in the Islanders game back in March. But this wrist injury is probably the same wrist that he hurt last year, the same wrist that he fell on in Tampa earlier in the winter. And then now he's getting that looked at. So it's a little scary on one hand that no one knew about this, but on the other hand, I'm almost grateful, not grateful, that's the wrong word, but I'm grateful that he didn't come back from his back injury or try to come back. I'm not grateful for the back injury, but the silver lining may be by rehabbing his back and healing his back, he's had also a chance to look and hopefully heal and now start to rehab his wrist. And if it means a short-term pain, i.e. missing the last month and a half of last season, or this season I should say, last month of the season, so that he can come back as close to 100% as possible in the fall, I think all Canucks fans would take that. So those were my 5 key takeaways from yesterday's press conference. The issues around captaincy, Bo Horvat's maturity vis-a-vis the World Championships, the cap room that's coming up, the dawn of a new era and a complete rebuild, and Brock Boeser's injury. We'd love to hear which one concerns you, which one you are most interested out of all those 5 things, or if there's anything else that I missed from the press conference that you think is even a more pressing issue than those 5. Lastly, to end off this video today, I want to invite you to my hockey pool. In the past, I've done a bracket pool, but I'm changing things up this year. I'm opening up to more people, which means more interest and hopefully a bigger pot of money at the end. It's very simple. It's an NHL, some people call it a confidence pool, where basically of the 16 teams in the playoffs, you assign each of them just once a score, a point value from 1 to 16. 16 being the highest, intuitively, 1 being the lowest. And every time that team wins a playoff series, they get that number of points. So for instance, if you pick Nashville and you assign them 16 points and they win the Stanley Cup, that's 4 series, that's 4 times 16, 64 points for you right off the bat. Let's say you said you gave Pittsburgh 15 points and they got all the way to the Stanley Cup finals and they lose to Nashville, you still earn 45, right? 15, 15, 15 for the 3 series they win. So imagine if you pick the Stanley Cup finalists and the proper winner, give them 16 points, you will have 109 points, 64 plus 45, 190 points right out of the chute. So basically, once again, all 16 teams, you rank them basically from 16 down through 1, and every series that team wins, you get that number of points. And at the very end, when the Stanley Cup is awarded, we add up the points for all the pollsters, and whoever has the highest points wins. So there's a lot of strategy involved. You can hedge your bets, you can stack one conference, you can do whatever you want. But in essence, I would invite you to join. It's very simple. I'm not going to put all the rules in the description below. I'm going to put my email address, which is clayemo@shaw.ca. So send me an email if you want to join, and then I'll send you the template. I'll send you the rules, and of course instructions on how to get me the money. It'll be $15 an entry, and it'll be either by PayPal or by e-transfer. So once again, I invite you to join my NHL confidence pool. I'm opening up to not only my friends that I see all the time, my friends and family, but anyone across the world through internet that wants to join. And yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Very simple, just one entry. Got to do it by Friday before the start of game 2s. By tomorrow, Wednesday, would be too quick. So by the start of game 2, so the entry deadline will be Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern, or if you're somewhere else in the world, you figure it out. And in essence, you give me a list, 16 through 1, of how you want your point totals allocated for the 16 teams in the playoffs. I hope that makes sense. Shoot me an email, clayemo@shaw.ca, listing it down below in the description. I'll send you the template and we'll go from there. All right, Canucks fans, which team are you rooting for? Who do you want to win the Stanley Cup? What do you think of my 5 takeaways from the press conference? All those things. Would love to read and react. As you know, I reply to all of your comments unless they're completely making fun of me, completely rude, or completely off the wall, but otherwise I will at least acknowledge and reply to whatever comment you leave. So do so down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Invite all your Canucks fans and friends to do that as well, and like this video if you like what I'm doing. Have a great day. God bless, and I can still say go Canucks go, right? Of course I can. God bless and go Canucks go.